Hello, welcome to my latest video. In this I'm going to be taking you through some of my older sketchbooks. There's one from 2019, 2020, 2021, and then a recent a Moleskine that I've started working in again. And I decided to put this together because in my previous video I started sketching just with pen without thinking too much, just intuitively drawing people. My inspiration from this is James Jean. I'm sharing some of his sketches just quickly. He made these absolutely amazing Moleskine sketchbooks using sometimes nothing more than a ballpoint pen. And so I tried to emulate him when I first started sketching. It was often in the TTC, and I would just, with this really fine ballpoint pen, just start drawing people. And I wouldn't measure anything out. It would just be about observing, getting the lines down, and I worked this way for a few sketchbooks, and so that's what I'm sharing now. And I did this a lot before the pandemic. So this is one of those sketchbooks from 2019 when I was still taking the TTC a lot. And a lot of these drawings would just be lines, not a lot of value. I would shade a little bit, sort of with the ballpoint pen you can get sort of feathery effects by just shading with it. Most of these sketches are done either in cafes or in the TTC. There are some, you saw some of the disembodied eyes and noses. I have a learn to draw book that I'd occasionally reference and just get some practice in. And these were very early attempts of trying to incorporate color. This is before I'd worked with watercolor ever. I wasn't terribly rigorous about only sketching in these books. These are notes that I just happened to start taking in the sketchbook. And the rest of the sketchbook, unfortunately, is just notes. And this is... I took a pretty big break from drawing entirely in 2020 during the pandemic. I just didn't feel inspired to draw much, and then picked up a book again now that we were allowed outside and started sketching. And this was actually an idea for a graphic novel that I briefly started, and I wrote 10 pages of it. If people are interested, I could share more of that. This is sort of the pencil work of one of the pages. So if you leave a comment, I'll share more. You can see the masks. I think the TTC was open at this point, but everybody had to be wearing a mask. And then again, I sort of intersperse it with notes. These are very quick trips. This is a trip I took with my now wife to Lebanon. Some of the foods we would eat. And again, all very line-based work. And then I get into more notes. I think that's one of the first watercolors. I had an old Winsor Newton student set that I started experimenting with. Again, mostly lines. These are actually from a trip to Montreal. I was trying to be very efficient with the sketching, so there's not a lot to them. A flight back. And then these are very, very quick sketches from Banff. Hard to sketch landscape with just lines. So then, since actually taking that course with Lapin, he showed how he actually works in two sketchbooks. He has a very small one for these very loose drawings when on the go, and then he has his watercolor sketchbook for his main sketches. So I decided to try to take up these TTC sketches again. So this is from this year, or actually now last year, now that we're in the new year. And just sketching on the go again. And I've started trying to, after the fact at home, add some skin tone to the people. It's interesting working watercolor on this moleskin. It almost repels the watercolor and you end up getting interesting textures as it dries. So I wanted to share this, and I'll continue to share these Moleskine sketchbooks. Thank you so much for tuning in.